it's a whole different level now. Now I probably for the last 3 years I have not marketed. I think if people say that they have to find love or somewhere else, they're gonna find out that it's basically the same thing with just more population. Like there is a point in time, like my buddy, when texting started coming out, and it was like literally you get 100 words a month. Years have been either just not very much, or I'm just reinvesting, and I think a lot of people would quit at that point, and I just kind of stuck to it. So I had a job this whole time, just to kind of help it. And after the third year, or like 3 years ago, I was like, okay, I made a little bit of money. Then last year, I'm like, okay, I made a solid jump. And then from last year, I made it now what I made the whole last year.
Oh, nice.
So it's like, first I did 4X, and now I'm like 2X, but it's getting to now a level where I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. So my first 4 or 5 years, it was a struggle. It was so hard to find people. Like I would do projects so low on the budget wise. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, or even just doing free work. And I still do free work right now, like for fundraisers and stuff like that, but it's a whole different level now. Now I probably for the last 3 years, I have not marketed once. And what I mean by that is like, I'm not putting out commercials or anything. It's just word of mouth. And I'm just really just posting up my stuff, and people just resonate with it. So.
Really, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any kids?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say balance of time.
Yeah. Yep, 37, no kids. So I do have that time, but I also like to try to spend time with my family and friends and my extracurricular, sometimes just with myself. I think it's so important to spend time with yourself and really love that part.
Yeah. Is there a certain time that you're waiting for that you like, or is it is it age or is it business that you're trying to get to a point before you decide to go any further and having kids, if you want to have kids?
Oh, kid-wise, yep. When I was younger, I wanted more kids. I wanted 3 kids because that's how I grew up, and all my cousins were all sets of 3s. So I'm like, okay, that sounds like pretty good. Then, like probably mid-20s, I was like, okay, I'll actually be good with like 2 kids, like 1 boy, 1 girl. I was like, I think that would be pretty cool. Now I'm getting to that age where it's like, well, shit, I think I only got time for like 1. And I'm open to it. And I'm also just open to not having kids if that is, it just really depends on the personalities and what me and that significant other wants to do. Mm-hmm. So I don't mind the travel part. Having no kids, I can
exactly
just go wherever I want.
Yeah. Speaking of dating, do you think Fort Wayne is a great place to meet your significant other, or would you rather it be from a small town like Newcastle? Or what would you say you'd be like? Where can I expect for you to find reunion?
Man, that's a great question. I think I'll probably answer it for myself. Me, I'm a close-knit person. I like to always be in that vicinity and just kind of doing everything together. So I guess it's all about personality wise. So I would want someone close. I've done long distance relationships and they kind of lack because like after it's exciting at first, like, oh my gosh, but then like after a while it's like, man, I'm not going to see them in like 2-3 months or more. And then the feelings kind of fade away. But just my style, I guess, like I always like to include my significant other in everything. I think that's so important. Like you can still have your free time. Like if you want to go with your girls or I go with my guys, great. But I mean, like I want to experience things together. Travel. If there's something that I like, can you come and check it out? Or is there something that you like? I would love to see what that's about. So I think over here it can be done. I think it really can, but I think if people say that they have to find find love or where somewhere else, they're going to find out that it's basically the same thing with just more population.
Yeah. So what do you think about that show, 90 Day Fiance, or the one where they don't, or let's say they never met this person until they get married, or they have a month? They have a month or two.
Yeah, they get the visa, they go over there. Luckily, I did watch that. I was obsessed with it.
It's
I was like,
dude, I don't know why.
I don't know why either. We put it on, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And I liked it. I was like, okay, now I'm invested. Let's see what happens. I think in our culture, it's kind of follows that route, and I think that's where I see a little bit different, because I've seen so many people in our family that has been arranged marriage. And it's not like the old type of arranged marriage where you're meeting them right in the wedding day,
yeah.
right? Yeah, that's crazy. But
there's another show for that too.
Right. But the arranged marriage is basically like, hey, the families kind of know each other. It's kind of like a proposal is kind of like a business proposal.
Okay.
Like literally like, hey, this is what they do and all that stuff. And really like the way that our culture like marries is we marry the families, and I think that's where more of the success rate is. But so like for them to do that, it's hard to say like if that would work, because I saw one where like she went to like Egypt or whatever, and she had a whole culture shock because she was all about fashion, and over there it's very conservative, cover up and all of that. And I see both sides. Like I understand his side and I understand her side, but when she's going over there, like she did conform, but she felt uncomfortable, and I don't think that they put that into perspective. I think a lot of people in America don't realize what kind of cultures there are out there, and also over there in other countries, they're not putting the perspective of the American as well. So that's where the conflict kind of comes into play.
You said something interesting. You said that when you ideally would like to get married, you're marrying the family and everything.
Absolutely.
Do you think that in America that the culture is I'm not saying everybody.
Sure. Yep.
Because obviously we know people who do the family, they go through the traditional. We're talking about on average. Do you think the culture in America is you're marrying a family, just that person, and you should kind of how you'll figure out whatever comes after, even though it might necessarily be what's best for you.
Sure.
But does that seem more typical here?
I don't think people marry for the family. I think they marry for whatever them two are. Whatever that is, and they don't really look at that. And I think that really causes problems, or helps the problem escalate. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do that. Sometimes people just want that. Like maybe they don't get along with their family and they're like, I just want to kind of start off fresh. And it's like, hey, same here. But then there's different dynamics, right? If holidays come, if that's the thing that you guys spend a lot of time with, like our family, we used to do Thanksgiving a lot, and we just get everybody together. We celebrated Christmas, like we weren't Christians, but we celebrated Christmas, and we would bring everybody to our house, and we would have presents for everybody. So because of that, that's how I grew up. And I was like, I like that, and I want to continue that, and so that's what I value. So for America-wise, I think, and I hate to assume because
no, we're just doing generality.
The generality, I think majority is just one-on-one marriage, and then they just kind of go from there, because typically people at 18, I hear a lot of parents like, you can go on your own.
Yes.
Right. Yes. So I think that's the mentality, but I have also seen a shift, I think, recently. I've been talking to a lot of individuals, like a lot of parents, and they have their kids moving back in.
I think that's because of financial times.
It is.
And I'm not putting down on it because, I still stay. I'm just talking about the
not at all
way financially and everything is, that because you're kind of debating on, would you rather rent a high price or would you rather try to own, which it's maybe cheaper, the monthly cost, but then if something happens, it's going to be probably 10 times the...
Exactly.
You got to have your stuff saved.
Yep. But that also tells me that the parents also want them back into their lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get the financial part, but I think they're also saying, hey, you know what? I want to build that relationship up again. And I've seen that a lot more now, and I think that's beautiful.
What do you think about social media and the effect it's had on society since you're 37, correct? You've seen before when you had the old school computers, big brick style Nokia.
The flip phones.
You know, you could slam it on the ground and it'll be good to go.
I know, for real. That's a great question, because this is actually one of the topics I've had with a lot of people. I think social media is a bittersweet thing. I think there's a lot of good to it, and there's also a lot of bad to it. I think we can connect friends, and that's what originally started out with, right? Facebook. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh my gosh, you know what? I can't just connect with them so easily. Now we got iPhones, like Apple Watches, everything, dude. Like, you got like the
glasses.
Yeah, the glasses where I can see you.
Glasses that are soon. We're gonna get the thin ones.
Oh my gosh, soon it's gonna be in our eyeball.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm so serious. Contacts.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. That's scary to think about a little bit, because what if you forget that you have it on?
So I think in that aspect, there is a point in time, like my buddy, when texting started coming out, and it was like literally you get 100 words a month.
Damn, that's what it was?
Swear to God. And then you gotta pay like every like letter or word. I'm like, shit. But then we just got to our phones, right? And I didn't text at that time. I didn't have a cell phone. Just we had literally landlines connected, wired. And I would hit up my friend, and he would come over, and there would be a point in time, like later in high school wise, where he was just on the phone the whole time. I'm like, man, that interaction's kind of lost, you know. I grew up, you know, with always being outside with the kids, you know, like riding bikes and doing all that stuff. I love that stuff. And then now I see my nephews and my nieces and nephews that are like 5 and 3, and they're just like right on the iPad, you know, and not very much interaction. So I see like a bittersweet thing. Business wise though, like, it's incredible. You can connect different people that you never could have before. You know, if I started a business, you know, back in the 90s, it's like, I'm just there. You know, now I could just post and it's like, international. I've worked with, I think, 400 to 500 different artists internationally when I did audio production wise, just because of the internet. And I had to leave my basement. And so I think in that aspect it's incredible, but I think the personal interactions have suffered. Yeah.
We'll wrap this up for time wise.
Sure.
I would like to know who or what do you acquit all of your success to, and then leave a message for those that support you.
Sure. I'm gonna say it's my dad, hands down. Literally had a walk with him this morning, and he's phenomenal. I think I really look up to him because he is very intellectual. He can be personable at the same time, but he pushes me to different degrees that I didn't have. You know, he opens up my mind to different things that I never realized I had, and honestly, like that. I mean, every day, like what he does basically is help other companies, you know, kind of expand their business. And I remember one conversation that I had with him. He was starting up his own business, and I was like, oh my God, I can do your commercials, you know, like I'll send you the bill and all that stuff. And he's like, why should I hire you? And I'm like, it's like, because I have great quality. He's like, I can buy my own camera. I can get good quality. Now what? And I was like, yeah, but you don't know how to do it. He's like, I can learn it. And like, he kept on questioning it until I got out of the bare bone answer, where it's like, where what he was trying to get to was, what's your value proposition? What are you adding to me that I can't do to myself? And that what's turned my company to where it is now, because of that question, that conversation that I had. I thought it was easy. I'm gonna turn on the camera, record, push it out. But now I'm shifting it, and I tell this to every artist, to every client that I work with. I was like, you know, you're doing XYZ, whether it's business or whatever, like, what are you providing that no one else is providing to them? And that to myself has been amazing, and I cherish that. So, you know, thank you, Dad, you know, for being that support system. And on top of that, just not even business wise, but like even personally wise, like if my sister was going out of town and needs kids to be like watched, you know, they would drive down 18 hours, 16 hours overnight, the next day say, do your thing. And that spoke volumes that, you know, they would go out of their way just to help everybody else. And the last thing is really like he does charity organizations now. So like he's like, I want to leave like a legacy for our families and really help out. You know, we were going through his long-term goals, and his main thing is like help others. And I was like, okay, I just greatly respect you, Dad, and I appreciate everything, even though sometimes I don't say it.
Oh, yeah. SBS, y'all. Thanks for stopping by, man.
I appreciate it, brother.